up, though?
What up, though?
Hope all is well. Can you introduce yourself?
Brother Campbell ill. Just got out of prison, did 31 years.
31?
31 years straight.
What age did you go in at, and what for?
17 going on 18. Homicide,
What were you sentenced to?
natural life.
Wow.
They
At the
gave
age
me
of
natural
17.
life.
So you got back on? Did you get back on the juvenile lifers bill?
No, I was really like transitioning from a juvenile to adult. So they really pretty much gave me like a parole hearing. Then I went through that process, and that's how I ended up getting out.
Oh, okay. If you was waiting on that juvenile bill and your case to be reversed, how long you think you would have been waiting?
Uh, uh, Probably when the COVID probably ended, whenever that got a chance to get over with, probably about 20 or 30 more years.
Oh,
That's how long they take.
yeah. It seemed like it.
Uh,
When you got that sentence, what was the feeling in your body, man? Like, did you think it was just over forever?
yeah, I was like, I didn't care. So when I got to, actually got to Jackson or Riverside, it was Riverside back then. So when I actually got to Riverside, it was like, I didn't care about nothing. I'm talking about I didn't care. Whether we got into fights, stabbings, stealing, robbing, whatever it was, I was in it. It didn't matter.
Wow.
And that's the attitude you had to take back then in the 90s, because once you're going through, quarantine and all that, it was like every man for themselves. Because mind you, back in the 90s, it wasn't from the 90s all the way back to the 80s, it wasn't no gangs in prison. So it's pretty much you was going to either be a Melanic, a Mo, a Nation of Islam, a Sunni, or a Christian. That was it. So if you did have some gangs, it was one or two people that was claiming, a set or something, but it wasn't really making no noise like now. So you got to have that attitude, like whatever happens, you own it. Whatever happens, you're gonna, represent. So it was like a 180 now from from the 90s up until now, because now it's all about you have to be in a group or a clique or something.
Right.
Back then you could be by yourself, but you just had to, be ready. You just had to be, whatever happens, you had to come out represent.
Exactly. When you first came down, who did you gravitate towards?
It was like we had a little crew. We had a little crew like in quarantine. And we was like I heard you was telling this one brother was talking about when they came through Jackson, the X-Men was like, we came through Jackson, we just rolled with each other. And that's how we did. We had our little crew, little 6-7 man crew that we hung out with every day. So when we transitioned to MR from Riverside, that's what we hung out with. So we really didn't get with no religious organizations or nothing right then. But
were they trying to actively recruit you?
Yeah. So every day people be out like giving you little flyers and giving you little literature to read and to, study and, try to, as we call it, breed on you. Breed is another word for, teaching you, the teachings and, giving you the ropes on, how things go. That's what we call breed. Like we breed on a person. So people be breeding on you every time you come outside your cell. Hey, little brother, read this, or brother, what you think about this after you read it or whatever. And that's every group, the Nation, the Melanics, the Moors, the Sunnis. Everybody would be out there trying to, get you to, come to their religious call outs.
When you first went to I guess Riverside was quarantined then?
Yeah, Riverside was quarantined. If you was under 21, you went to Riverside. If you was over 21, you went to Jackson 4 block.
Were you kind of nervous going in there?
Man, if anybody said they wasn't, they lying. Because once you get in there, it's like people that you don't know. So it's like it's 1,000, 1,500 people, and they all hollering and screaming, and so it's like I wouldn't say scared, but like nervous because you don't know about the unknown that's about to happen. You don't know. So you like kind of got like you looking around for show. If people say they wasn't, they like, even if you the hardest, the biggest guy, you gotta, because the odds is against you, you don't know nothing. The unknown,
Right.
you don't know. So I'm looking around, but I'm trying to be cool with it. But I'm looking around like, man, people hollering and screaming and people getting chased around the yard. So that was my first experience. I'm like, people getting hit upside the head. So but I'm trying to take it in like it ain't nothing. But I'm looking like, man, this what I'm up against. This what I'm finna be doing for the next 20, 30, 40 years. That's what I was thinking in my mind. But
did you have any size on you at that time? Like any muscles? Was you already working out or what?
no, I wasn't doing none of that. I'm thinking of ways on how I'm gonna get me a as we call it, a gun. I'm thinking of ways on how I'm gonna, get a chance to, get secure. So I get some security, and that
Exactly.
would be your security. Having a weapon is your security. But
Would you say a weapon was an essential in those times?
you had to have a weapon. So no matter what happened, you had to. Most people put in their shoes. Most people in LA, we don't do that in Michigan. If they did, I didn't know. Key Street, put it up your rectum. We don't do that.
Yeah.
That's LA stuff. But we guy either have it in his shoe or have it on him. Tucked on him. Like in his arm or somewhere like that in a book or something. But it was essential. You had to have a weapon. It was mandatory. But so a lot of people that that people talk about now, they done either died out or went home or got old. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them people ain't relevant. Like when you hear them names, them so-called big penitentiary names, they're not relevant right now. Well, 99% of them is not relevant right now. Because like I say, they done went home, or they done got old, or they done died out.
That's definitely understood. How were you, like, before you went to prison? Were you like gang affiliated, anything like that?
No.
Or the
Gang,
cliques they had,
gang.
like Pony Down and
Yeah. See, back then, it was like be likes, uh, uh, let me see, be likes, Pony Boys, even the NFL and all that stuff wasn't out then. It's like be likes, like I say, Pony Boys, YBIs, Chamber Boys, them type of, but they weren't really gangs, they was like groups. And back then, like I say, I liked it back then because people was into getting money. So the games that was so-called games back then was like money getting games. So if you beefing, it wasn't about no colors or none of that. It was about that money. So that was a real beef. So if you on my block trying to sell dope or drugs or whatever, that's when the beef was on. But other
Right.
than colors and all that stuff, man, didn't nobody care nothing about that stuff. It was all about money.
Exactly. That's what it should be about, it, if you ask me. But
So, but I want a lot of people to understand this, that a lot of people in prison, we got this stigma that everybody in prison is bad, everybody, because you committed a crime. But you see now, a lot of people is getting exonerated. A lot of people is, they Kim Worthy overturning their case. People, what's the white female name? Uh,
the
what's
governor.
the white? No, not Gretchen. Kim Worthy and the white woman. I forgot her name. I don't want to say she's the attorney general, but I forgot her name. But anyway, she working hard to, help overturn cases and all that stuff. So my point I'm trying to say
Oh,
is
you
that
talking about Kim K?
no, not Kim Worthy.
Oh,
Not Kim
oh,
Worthy. It's
I thought you were talking
another
about
it's another
Kardashian.
female.
Okay.
No, it's another female that's in Michigan that she, Valerie Newman. Valerie Newman. She with Kim, Kim Worthy and Valerie Newman. Them the anchors behind, people getting exonerated. Now they trying to shut down that because they're not getting enough money to fund for people, to get their cases overturned and get looked at. But there's a lot of people, bro, that got railroad, that got, the police will beat you up. Police will make you confess to a crime that you didn't commit. So I want a lot of people to understand that just because you're in prison, that doesn't A, don't make you a bad person. B, it doesn't make you guilty of the crime that they say you committed. And C, you got to be a strong-minded individual to go to prison and still maintain your innocence and your integrity, your morals, your principles, your values, because you get deprogrammed when you get in prison. All that stuff is out the window. Now it's all about survival. survival of the fittest, you know? So
Exactly.
it's a lot of stuff you got to go through. So once you walk through them doors, bro, whether you're guilty or not, your whole life has changed. You're not the same person. I don't care if you did a year, a week, a month, you're not the same. And people don't understand that. So you just messed up a person's whole life, like Salter Bay. Shout out to brother Islam Salter Bay. That they changed his whole life. He's a football. He had a football scholarship. He was doing good. Coming up. He could have. Who knows? He could have been in the NFL. But you stripped that from him because you never gave him. He never got his due process. He never got a fair shake. The system just it just ate him up. And it's a lot of people in prison like that, bro. So we always a lot of people want to hear the bad about prison, but the flip side of it is, what about trying to help people get out? What about sending money to different programs to help push the people to get out? That's really innocent, Because you got a lot of them, bro. I'm telling you, man, even people that, a lot of people rape people and all that, but you got a lot of people in prison that got falsely accused of that, and it goes, it happens, but we tend to overlook that because we like, by Michigan being a liberal state and it's all about money, they don't want to hear that, man. Who want to hear that, man? Oh, here come another person say he innocent again. That's what society, that's the stigma that they give us. You go through prison,
That's real. So
And I go ahead.
go ahead.
And
Go
by
ahead.
me being when I started, learning the teachings of being a Moorish American, shout out to Rimmer Bay, Islam to Rimmer Bay,
Take
uh,
his time.
he taught me, the good part of it, not the bad part, because a lot of people always say that Rick did this and Double R did this and that. But when I met him, from the time I met him in the 90s, he always taught me the right way of doing things. Bro, if you're wrong, you're wrong. Bro, Islam teaches us to love instead of hate. Islam. So I don't know about Double R back then. I know about the Double R of the 90s where I met him in 92, 93. And the brother always taught me, put my best foot forward. He taught me to stop cussing. He taught me to, stop being disrespectful to women. Every word come out my mouth was the N word. That's the Double R that I know. That's the brother that I love. That's my Mo. That's my big brother, So I want people to know that Rick done changed more than just one way, He ain't
Yeah.
doing a lot. His name ain't ringing. I mean, a lot of brothers say that the Moes is this and the Moors is this and that, but we can get into some stuff. If we was to go in prison and start to selling drugs and start to getting involved in extorting people and all that, we'd be the biggest, toughest, baddest organization in prison. But we ain't into that. A lot of brothers, whether they admit it or not, it's a lot of Moors that's done transition that got out of prison that had big bits. They don't say nothing about that. The most of the that they let out of prison that did them big bits is Moors. And they out here doing their thing. They out here, when I say doing their thing, I'm talking about they out here getting jobs, they staying out, they getting off parole. You got a lot of Moors that got out that's doing good, man. But people don't say that. People don't ever mention that. Like I say, we can glorify the bad, but to the flip side of it, we out here doing good, bro. We out here, this 2000, they say we going to profit. No, what you all say, the Moors going to come into their own in the year 2000. And we saying Moors, we talking about Moors. You ain't got to be a Moorish American, but you still a Moor. You still from Northwest, Southwest. You still haven't proclaimed it, but you still a Moor, though. So it's a lot of Moors that's doing their thing. Islam, all the brothers.
Now, how long was you down before you came into the science?
I came down in 91, so I transitioned 92. 91 or 92. I came out in 90. So it's like the 91 going into 92, brothers started, as we say, breeding on me. And that was brothers like Milton Bay, Brother Milton Bay, Brother Ramsey Dean Hill, Brother Little Bay, Islam the Little Bay, he passed for him, Brother Little Bay, who else? I can't remember them brothers because it's been so long ago, but them was the brothers that when I first started rotating. And back then, brother, you had to know some things. Brothers would, every time the doors or the cells broke, every time they opened them up, a brother would be drilling you on the teachings. It wasn't about going to play basketball or going to recreation. A brother be trying to install them principles and them teachings in you. Give me chapter 1, brother, or tell me something that you read in a chapter chapter 16, or give me anything that you done read today dealing with the Moorish Temple of America or the Nation of Islam, or, and brothers, this is what we would call, grooming brothers, But
Mhm.
nowadays, brothers don't do that now. It's all about coming straight out of quarantine, jumping right into stuff that you don't even know about. And, his prison done changed a lot. So I don't like to, always talk about the negative part of prison, but the positive part, the flip side of it is that you could go to college, you can earn your degree, you can get your certificates as far as, and people don't know them, custodial maintenance. You can use that out here. You can easily get a job at Joe Louis Arena or Little Caesars Arena or whatever, and night shift jobs or doing floors and buffing floors, and it's easy to get one of those jobs out here. So
Right.
people don't utilize it when they get out. They don't utilize it enough.
What
But
were some of the programs that you took while you was incarcerated?
uh, I having a life bit, you couldn't really get
Oh
involved
yeah,
later on, but early on you could. Like you could get your college degree, in the '90s, but they cut that out because of the money. It wasn't getting funded enough money, so they cut that out. But you could get. I got my uh, GED. I got my Porter certificate. I got my uh, what you call that, food tech certificate. So I got a few of them, and then later on down in my bit, like 20 years on, I got thinking for a change, uh, self-help, any type of self-help programs like Inside Outside Dad, all type of little self-help programs that I could get along the way. I took them. I took advantage of the opportunity,
exactly.
and so a lot of brothers that it's not I don't want to say never coming home, but the chances or the odds of them getting out is like, it's like slim to none. So by me being out, I got to represent for the people that may never get out.
Yeah,
So I got to put my best foot forward. I done been out over a year now, and bro, it feel like yesterday. It feel like last week. I'm down here in Kansas right now. I'm doing good. I got a job. I got my forklifting license. I got a baby. I just had a baby. You know, I'm paying my taxes. Paying taxes? Who heard of that? I never heard of paying taxes. I'm out there paying taxes, man. I got a car. I got my own duplex. I'm paying bills. I can go in the bank and they actually saying my name. It's a lot of things that who would have thought. A guy coming out of prison, that wasn't institutionalized. That came out here and actually, made things work. Connected the dots. Made things work. So I want to say to all the brothers that's out here that's striving and trying to do the right thing, man, keep your head up because, hey, Allah is leading on, his victory is sure. You better know that.
big facts. I gotta ask you this: Do you know how to use a phone all the way yet?
I never use the phone. Right now, somebody got to dial the number. Right now, I'm still trying to learn it. So it's a lot of stuff that, like, when I was out, we had the big phones that you hook up to the lighters inside your car or whatever. And you took it out and put it inside of a briefcase or whatever, or we had the big the beepers big as your phone right now, big old beepers that went off like a phone, so it's a lot of stuff. So it wasn't no caller ID or none of that. You had to star 69 a person. Hey, did you just call this number? So it was a lot of stuff that, the internet wasn't out, Xbox wasn't out, we had Atari and stuff like that. Come on, man. So a lot of stuff that, I wasn't privileged to, in a joint to have that type of stuff, the technology or whatever. And I'm
Right.
kind of glad because who knows, man, I could have, it could have extended my bit, So like the teaching teaches us in the Moorish Temple of America, stay ready. You ain't got to get ready. So I
Yes, sir.
always stayed ready. So when my time was up, when they slid that paper under my door and told me, you up next, like they say on life, you up next, I'm up next. So I, signed a paper and went up to the parole board and, you know, and said what I had to say to get out, man. I didn't go. It's one thing for sure. When you're doing a life bid, you go before the public hearing and the parole board, they don't want to hear you up there crying. Because they saying to themselves, the victim's family crying and all that. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear what changed from then and now. Why should they let you out of prison? That's the question they ask you. Why should they let you out of prison? Because in their mind, you still a murderer, you still an armed robber, you still a child molester, whatever the situation is. So the question is, why should we let you out of prison? And after doing all that time, you don't know why you should get out of prison? You shouldn't get out of prison. If all that time you've been in prison, you haven't changed, you haven't transitioned, then you should still be in prison, you know? And that's just real. That's just being real. And for the people that don't see that, that's because you haven't been in that, you haven't been in them situations. You haven't been in them shoes, you know?
How long did it take you to start changing your ways? Because I know, you might have been involved in some incidents in prison. But how long did it take you to say, you know what, I'm about to fall back a little bit and
2000. In 2000. From 1990 to 2000, that's when I transitioned. When in 2000, I had caught a case, and I'm like, man, it was for nothing, you know? It was at Huron Valley. I caught a case, assault case on an inmate at Huron Valley. And as I'm sitting in the cell and I'm thinking about the situation, it could have been avoided. I could have just easily de-escalated that situation and it wouldn't even lead it. You know, it wouldn't have led to, it was a serious assault. You know, I caught a case for it and everything. So when I sit back and thought about it, I say, man, that was stupid. That was dumb. And it could have been avoided. So I sat in the hole for like 3 or 4 years, went to Imax and did all the Imax stuff.
Like they made you stay in the hole 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, Imax was a 2-year program minimum. You had to stay in Imax for 2 years. That's if you don't mess up and they send you all the way back, then you got to start all the way back over. So if you don't catch a lot of tickets, assaults, people come out their cell or people throwing stuff at people, feces and all that. So you had to, you had to, be ticket free for 2 years in order for them to consider letting you out of Imax. And, Imax had all the people that, we had like 3 or 4 people in the Michigan prison that killed police, so they had them down there in their own unit. So, one thing about them, they never left that unit. So they had 2 cells. So if you did detention, you would go to the cell next door. Once you got off your detention, you go to the cell next door to where all your property is. So if you did anything that requires you to be on detention, they just move you over to the next cell. And once you finish, they move you back over. And so you got people been down there, bro, over 30, 20 something, almost 30 years in them same cells. Can you imagine that, bro? For the people that don't know, you got a lot at stake. When you decide to pick up a weapon, whether it's a police or an inmate, you got to say to yourself, this could perhaps go the wrong way. I could lose my life or take somebody else's life. So when you pick that weapon up and you decide to use that weapon, you got to always be mindful of it could easily go the wrong way. And in fact, that if it do go the wrong way, you done stab the police and an inmate, you looking at the rest of your life inside a cell where you never getting out. Because if you catch 9 times out of 10, you catch a body on the police, you're not getting out. You never getting out. They're never gonna let you on the yard. They're gonna figure that you're too dangerous. And I don't know how other states do it, but in Michigan, you're not getting out. So you just lock yourself in. So for the brothers that's still in the hole, that's still maintaining their integrity, they sanity and all that, I salute them. Because that's hard, bro. I don't think I can do it. I know I can't do it. I'm telling you I can't do it. I know I can't do it. To sit in the cell all them years like that.
Yeah, I seen him in the cell for about 30 years. 20 months. I say.
Yeah. I never met him. I never seen him. But I just used to hear stories when I was at IMAX because he was in a 1 unit. And 1 unit is like the dungeon. It's like a whole nother, you like on a whole nother planet when you get down there. I'm talking about everything is just sealed off. So I never met him because I never went to 1 unit, but I heard they was like, man, he was getting dogged out. They was urinating in his food. They was starving him, when he first caught that case. And so he was going through a lot, man. So I salute the brother, man. And it's like, man, I don't even know what to say, bro. It's just hard. It's just heartfelt. So right now, I'm living for them type of guys, and come to find out he didn't even have a big bit. He could have been out, It's a lot of brothers that's like that, man, that lock themselves in. I just seen a case on TV, on YouTube about the guy locking in there with a sissy, a homosexual. And he didn't want to lock in there with him at Alger Correction Facility. I'm saying to myself, wow, man, now you done caught a body and now you done lock yourself in, whether you got a life off of it or a numerous amount of years. I mean, I mean, bro, you know, it's a stigma in prison. Like, you don't want to lock with no sissy, but okay, you don't want to lock with a, well, let me say a homosexual.
Yeah,
Homosexual. Yeah.
homosexual.
I know we on T, we can't really say that, but a
Yeah.
homosexual. And excuse me, or I apologize if I offended anybody for saying that. I'm gonna say a homosexual. He was locking with a homosexual. So he didn't
They
want
call
to be
themselves
locked.
that. I don't understand why they get so mad about it, because I see them call themselves that, but whatever.
But we got to keep it, you know, we got to keep it funky or thorough.
Yeah.
So and he didn't want to lock with him. So in prison, once they found out, and then this was the crazy part about that is not him. I'm not saying him, but the guys that actually do stuff like that, they turn out to be involved in that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't understand that. So you mean to tell me like it was an incident? I'm gonna pause that incident, but it was an incident back in the 90s about a guy that was on Jenny Jones' show. It was a talk show. And a guy had called him on the show and talked about him liking him and all that. And so he ended up killing that dude. And then he went to prison in Michigan. This happened in Michigan, Mount Clemens or somewhere out there, Bloomfield, somewhere. So he ended up going to prison and he messed with boys. I mean, he messed with men. Why did you do that? I don't understand that. You got offended by that and you did all that. And then you went to prison and then you started messing around with other men. That's crazy. But anyway, getting back to the situation though. So the brother did that. And I feel for the brother because, bro, you could have just waited and got moved. You know you ain't on that, you know you ain't on what he on. And I'm quite sure the guy probably ain't make no advances towards you. If he did, it's kind of rare because you got to get him some type of signs or some type of, for them to even, come at you like that. Because I've been down 31 years, bro, and my name in the MBOC, I never did that. I never been involved in none of that stuff. So, and I'm not trying to like put myself up on a pedestal, but I tried to leave the same way I came in. That's the way I tried to leave out. So
and that's hard.
I felt that if the brother would have just thought about it, I don't think that he would actually went through with what he did. Who's to say, they wouldn't have moved him later on that day or next week or whatever, but peer pressure, I believe that played a part in it. Oh man, you down there locking with it, and that, that'd be playing a part, But for people that don't know, man, it's a lot going on in prison, bro. And people need to understand, man, you got to be mentally stable in order to survive in prison. Like you say, it's a chess game. It's a chess. And what people don't understand, pawns is the most powerful piece on a chessboard. So you could take knights and rooks, but I can checkmate you with them pawns. I can corner you in a corner just with pawns. Because if pawns next to other pawns, you can't even touch them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, listen, it's like, and that's like in life too. Life is a game of chess. These ain't like Denzel said on Training Day. This ain't checkers, this chess. I played him, Jake. Just a little joke though, boy. Just a little joke. But yeah, so that's what life's about, man. Who can make the best chess moves, Who can make the best chess moves. And 9 times out of 10, the best moves, your last move better be your best move. That's the best, summary that you can come up with. Your best move better be the last move is your best move. But yeah.
Now to rewind this back a little bit. So when you get sentenced, what were people telling you in the county jail or the youth home about prison, what to expect? And was it true?
A little bit, because they had us as scared straight. See, before I came to prison, I was in agent training school. And so they sent us to Jackson prison. And they was like, oh, this gonna be your next stop. So, quite naturally, guy be trying to be hard. You young, you trying to, man, I got uncles in there, I got brothers in there, send me in there, you be trying to be hard, but you young, you a little kid, you don't know none of it. You ain't trying to go in no cell with no grown man or whatever. But, we all in there trying to act hard because we, trying to be street, trying to act street. Send me in there, I'm the main one. Send me in there, I got uncles in there, brothers in there. I go in there right now, throw me in the cell, So, they took us through the little scared straight program. And then, it kind of, I don't know, I got to say, it kind of prepped us to get prepared for prison, So next thing, like soon you get out of the training school, you get committed to the state. You being a youth home, they commit you to the state, and you like a stepping stone or a step away from going to prison. Right after you get out of youth home or agent training school, the maxi or whatever, you like a step away from going to prison. Anything you do at that point, you prison bound. And so a lot of people that you would see back in them days, they all went to prison. It was like they prepped us to be, to go to prison because we didn't utilize the stuff that they taught us, because they did teach you some things in there, but we didn't utilize that stuff. We pretty much just, we was in there and couldn't wait to get out, get back into selling drugs and get back into, doing whatever it was we was doing before we came there, So, but yeah, in a nutshell, man, it was like it prepped us for, to come to prison in so many ways.
When you first got there, young baby face or whatever, did anybody like try to take advantage of you, like take your stuff, rob you?
No, they didn't do that. It was like people was like gravitated towards, the youngsters back then, at MR. I don't know about Jackson. I'm talking about an MR. In Jackson, it probably would have been a whole different episode because you had real predators down there, But now in this era, in this age, people already come to the joint already prepped up, ready to roll out, on that level. People already, jumping, diving head first into, indulging in that type of activity, But when I came through, people was like seeing how, I was moving. They was like, my first little lick or whatever, my little move I shot was robbing somebody, going to child. We had MR and we catch a guy, a white guy, he go to child, he got all his tapes in there. They had cassette tapes back then and all that. So we'd see a guy going to child and we'd slide in their cell and get some laundry bags and clean them out, go back to our cell and close the door because the rocks at MR are so long that it's gonna take a minute. So by the time they come back from child, they go in their room and they slamming their stuff all around. I just got robbed. So we got the little mirror and we stick it outside the cell and we look and police run down there and they get to cussing the police out. And back then, if you cuss the police out, they'd be like, you know what? You deal with it yourself, You can't be, the police didn't care back then. If you go to yelling and screaming and they tell you to calm down and they'll be down there in a minute and you keep doing that, they not coming. And then when they do come, they're gonna tell you they ain't attending to nothing that whatever happened, they don't care. And they just keep it moving. It was harsh. And it wasn't nothing for police to open up the door and be like, what you want to do? Let's go in the room, let's go in the cell. Them police they'll take you there,
Wow, I can't imagine that now. Other than
Yeah,
that,
imagine that. A police telling you they're coming to cell with you. What you want to do? And they're clack, clack. They don't just ask you, they hit the cell and be like, what's up? Step in the cell and be like, what's up? Go in the closet with you, be like, what's up? Now, some of them get faded, some of them get tore off, but they man up, they wouldn't report it or nothing. And a lot of them was tearing the inmates off, slamming them all on their head and, vice versa, So, it was a time, it was a time in the era back then. It was so, it was different. And so when you get involved in all that, bro, them years tend to go back quick. Next thing you know, you look in the mirror, you done dusted off a little gray hair, you looking in the mirror, you got a couple of gray whiskers in there, you look up, you done did like 20 plus years. You like, because you done got involved in the penitentiary, politics and the penitentiary way of living and becoming institutionalized. So a lot of people, they use that word and they don't really know the meaning to it though, but being institutionalized, meaning, this is my definition. So everybody got their own definition, this is mine. Being institutionalized is like cutting yourself off from everything that's considered the outside world, meaning that everything you do is penitentiary bound, whether it be fudge, whether it be, worrying about who working at 2 o'clock or 10 o'clock, what we got for child, who going on the call outs, betting on skins and stuff like that. So everything you do is penitentiary bound, meaning everything is grounded to prison. You don't care about what's going on out there in the streets, everything, you don't care about visits or nothing. So a lot of people majority of the people that be in prison is institutionalized, bro. And if you get out and you see a brother that doesn't have those traits or whatever, I salute them brothers, man. I salute you brothers that got out and didn't look back and been out all these years and still doing your thing. Hey, thumbs up, toes up. I salute you brothers and keep doing the right thing,
When you got out, what did you have to Was it weird for you? Was you like distant from everybody, secluding yourself?
I got out. It was like the COVID had really hit. So I'm like, so when I got out, I couldn't believe it at first. I'm like, man, hey, because it's taking a year to get out the control center. I'm talking about, man, it's taking forever. I'm like, man, is they playing or is it a joke or what? I mean, because I'm seeing people coming in and out. You leaving, police like, you finna go home after all those years? I'm like, shoot, it don't seem like it because it's taking too long for them to process me to get out. So I'm pacing the floor. I'm sweating. My whole T-shirt is drenched in sweat. I'm like, man, I hope they ain't finna call me back to the cell because it don't seem real because it's taking too long. So when I finally transitioned, they gave me my little debit card with all my money because I got the COVID money on there. I had saved some money I had saved up some money, and they was letting us get the stimulus checks, in prison. So I had that going out the door.
I didn't know that.
But we got our $1,400 or whatever. They gave it to everybody. Every inmate got a stimulus check. Do you know how much money that was? Every inmate in the MDOC? Because we was at like what, 50,000 people? So we under that now, but I'm saying we pretty much at like 30 or 40,000 people there. Everybody didn't file it though. But I'm saying though, if everybody would have filed it, you know how much money that was just in prison? Man, so I had my check and I had hustled up on some, making fudge and, doing little jobs. And so I left with a nice little piece on my stimulus card. So I'm old school. I want all my money in my hand, in my pocket. I want to be able to feel the bands in my pocket,
Facts.
But they was like, no, they got it on the card. So I step out. I'm at Agent Correctional Facility. I step out and I'm like, I just take a deep breath and I'm inhale, and I exhale. And my sister pull up. She in the Equinox. It looked like a Benz, bro. This how the cars now, the Benz don't even look, appealing. The BMWs don't even look worth nothing. Man, they got Hyundais and Civics looking like old Benzes and with kits and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, that's a Hyundai, that's a Civic. So the Equinox looking like a Benz pulling up. So I'm looking past that. I'm like, where's my sister? She hit the horn. I'm right here. Windows smoked out. She let the windows down. I'm like, man, it looked like a spaceship in there, bro. You hear me? Everything talking to you and everything is electronic. And I'm like, man, so I get out. We go around the corner to the gas station. I change out. I get in all black because I told her, give me all black. Give me a pair of Air Force Ones and all black with me some Lopes on, and we on, And that's how she dressed me out. And I got out to put some real clothes on, bro, and get out them state blues. Oh, man. So, I'm a vegetarian, so we go to Pizza Hut. We go to Pizza Joint around the corner. So I go there, get a vegetarian meat, veggie lovers or whatever, and I'm in there, I'm eating good, I'm laughing, I'm happy, I'm elated, and it felt good, man. It just felt good. And everything that I was thinking about prison, I left that back out in prison. I left that all in prison. My whole thing was the first week I got out, I got a job and I just started, doing the right thing,
Is the prison glow real? When they talk about when you get out, they could just tell the women just beyond you can.
Yeah, they can. They can. I ain't lying because people be staring, you be staring. I had on my Loke, so if I was to take my glasses off, bro, my eyes be looking like this. Look, my eyes be bucked because I couldn't believe that. Back in my days, they wore biker shorts, and now they wearing it's really biker shorts, but they like leggings. They call them leggings, and I'm like, everybody got bodies out here. The white girls, the black girls. I'm like, man, this is mind blowing. Everybody got bodies. Skinny girls and the fat girls and everybody. I'm like I told you, bro, I'm looking at it, and soon I'm turning around, I go this way, I look this way. I'm like this. I'm like, man, this stuff is amazing, though. So, I salute to whoever made the leggings. I salute you, man. Whoever did that, man. Yeah, you came up for real, man. You made a major difference, man. Yeah, you did your thing. Whoever made them, they did their thing.
Shout out to whoever made them leggings for real.
Yeah, so yeah, they did their thing. So, but I gotta go to work, bro. And whenever you hit me back, I'm here, bro. So shout out to all the brothers out there doing their thing. Young Eel, shout out to you. If you don't remember me, that was me and Penny Bay that seen you on that bench that day in front of G Unit. Islam, brother. So I'm just leaving it at that. You know what I'm talking about. And Shout out to Rimmer Bay and all the brothers that's out there, the Moors that's out there doing good, Salter Bay and all the other brothers. Hey, mad love, brother. Peace.
Peace and blessings, bro. Big five.
Yeah.